Today, we are going to be looking at the truth about the trauma you have been through, the truth about it. So, a lot of the time, you will probably experience trauma from a very young age, and that's very normal. The things you've been through, the things you have experienced, can leave you thinking and feeling in a certain way from a very young age. And that's what we're going to look at today, because the enemy, the devil in Chanel that I always call it, comes in to attack us at a very young age. And if you are here, you have probably been attacked quite a few times. And a lot of the time we can think there's something wrong with us, or that we're bad, or that it means something bad. A lot of the time it can mean you actually must have a lot to accomplish here. You must have a huge gift, a huge blessing on the world if the enemy has attacked you or is attacking you now. So stay with me, because the trauma you have been through doesn't need to be overanalyzed, and you can be free from it. Okay? So I spent absolutely years, so much money, so much time, so much energy digging up the trauma, going into it, analysing it. Why did it happen? Why did it happen to me? Whose fault was it? All of that kind of stuff. That's okay to a certain point. But if you have done all of that, what we're looking at today is trauma in a totally different way. So what is trauma? Trauma is the abuse, the neglect, the abandonment, and everything that comes with that, comes out of that, the fears, the insecurities, the inadequacies, the anxiety, everything that comes out of what you have been through. And your experiences will be different. Everybody's different, and you can't you can't compare, because somebody can say, well, this happened to me, but that wasn't that bad for me. It's trauma to you. If it upset you, trauma is upset. If it upset you, it can impact you. It can impact how you think, how you feel. And the devil wants you to stay stuck, analysing it all, trying to fix it all, trying to work out what is wrong with you and who to blame. That's not God. That's not the truth. That will not set you free. That will keep you stuck. There's no way you can be free when you're over-analysing it all and trying to work it all out. That's not freedom. There is another way. Today we are looking at that other way. It's so exciting. Trauma and excitement don't normally go together, do they? The thing about trauma is it can harden your heart. And when it hardens your heart, you almost become this version of yourself that you just don't recognise. You look at yourself one day in the mirror and you don't recognise yourself. You don't realise quite what it's done. And it can make you harden your heart and seek that what you're kind of looking for in all the wrong people, places and things. And when we're relying on outside people and things to heal us, we're not going to the source of the healing. The devil loves it. Another self-help book will fix you, but it only lasts for 2 days. Another therapy will heal you, but it doesn't quite shift it. What can shift it? What we're looking at today. We are going back to the word, and the word never fails when you believe. So, if you are relying on yourself to heal yourself and get over the trauma, that will get you so far. This podcast used to be called Turn Yourself On, because when I first set it up, it was very much, you can do it. You have the power within you. You take control, girl. And that's kind of true, but it only gets you so far. If you are relying on other people, if you are relying on other people, like men, like women, like friends, like healers and all that kind of stuff, that's almost numbing the pain. If you are relying on money, deals, things, clients, success, maybe you're addicted to pornography, sex, you might be in fantasy, lust, You might be addicted to shopping. All of these things can numb the pain. Even issues with diet, and bulimia and things like that. If you are relying on your husband to fix the problem, or your friend, or somebody else outside of you, something outside of you, anything, whatever it is, or your own strength, that will only get you so far and numb it and mask it, but it won't go away. What will change it? Here's the first scripture I want us to look at. So I need my granny glass again, as my husband calls it. The thief, I call it the devil, comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. Steal what? Your dreams. Kill your relationships, destroy your dreams, basically. I have come that they might have life and have it to the full. Jesus is saying that. Like, you don't need to overcome all of this because I've got you if you believe. The devil is going to come and steal your life from you. It's going to say that what you have been through is it, that you're broken and you can never be fixed. It will then use the insecurities and the fear and the anxiety and the thought patterns you've created since going through the trauma to make you blow up your business, your relationships, to keep you stuck, to kill your relationships, to destroy your dreams. That's the devil that's taken root. Jesus is saying, I have come that they might have life and have it to the full, have it abundantly. If you believe, that's the promise. That's the promise. How good is that? So there's a couple of issues going on here that when it's highly likely when you've been through trauma, it's that we seek for the solution everywhere else but in God. And if we do seek it from God, it's very sporadic. It's almost like we want to believe, but then we take back that control. And I didn't go into this God thing because it was a he, because I didn't understand it. And why would you believe in something that you can't physically see? It's almost like you feel like you're a bit deluded. The second issue is that because of what you have been through, it's highly likely you won't feel worthy or good enough to go to God and be like, hey, I need help. Because of what you've been through, because of the insecurities, because of the fears, because you've made mistakes, we don't feel worthy enough to be like, hey, I'm stuck. Can you help me? And it almost makes us, we have to become humble to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't heal all of this trauma and all of the fallout from it on my own. I can't do that. The thing is, the devil will tell you lies like, you're never going to overcome it. This is just you now. This is the way it's always been. It's too deep rooted. It's been like this for so long. You're too broken. It's too late for you. Nothing's ever going to change. It'll never work. Do you recognize some of that stuff that goes on inside your head and your heart? That's the devil. That's not the ultimate healer. Now, this passage in James, it's beautiful. James 4, chapter 7 and 8. Verse 7 and 8. This is the best defense against the devil. The best defense. Not anything outside of you. This. Are you ready? Submit yourselves to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. You don't need to get rid of him. You don't need to overcome him. He'll flee. Come near God and he will come near to you. Like that. That is beautiful. Submit yourselves. Here's the problem though. We don't want to submit ourselves because submission sounds weak. And why would we want to submit ourselves to a man? When we've been hurt, sometimes the trauma can have come from dads, men, exes, men that have let you down in your life. Why would you then submit yourself to God, another man who might let you down? That's all about the healing work with that relationship with God and Jesus that we do within Believe. Then you will be happy to submit everything. You'll be like, I'm done. Have it all, because I don't want to do it all. Submit yourselves then to God. But it takes healing that relationship. But we can do that. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. The thing is, when you have God as the goal, you're not even thinking about all of this stuff that's happened. It's not to minimize it. It's just not to let it hold you back anymore, because you're going up here, you're going to the promise, you're going to the truth. God, help me. I don't want to do it on my own. Come near to God. You have to make the first move. A lot of the time when we're trying to get over it, we're trying to heal it, we're speaking to another healer, therapist, we're spending more money trying to overcome what we think we're missing. We're not going to God. We're missing the goal. We're missing the healer. And he will come near to you. That's the promise. That is the promise. You have to invite God in. You have to make the first move. You have to go to God. And that can feel so icky. Because what if you don't believe in God? What if you're thinking, I don't want to fix it all myself anymore. I don't want to overcome my trauma. I can't even work it all out and link it all together. It's too complicated. But I don't believe in God and I don't want a relationship with him. Well, that's fine. If you want to carry on without that relationship, try it. See how far you get and how happy you are on that path. But I highly recommend handing it over and submitting yourself. It does feel weak. When you've not got that relationship, it feels very weak, like you don't know what you're doing. It just doesn't feel right. I get it. But when you start to build that relationship, it's like a father. It's like having a relationship with the best father in the world. Imagine if your father was the best father, and it's like having that relationship where you're like, I know I'm looked after. I know I'm provided for. I know I am helped and healed. And it's like, then you're happy to give it all over, because you're like, hey, Father, can you sort it? Because left to my own devices, I'm going to blow things up. So that first scripture that we went to, the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's the unbelief. And the devil wants you to stay there because it wants to keep you down. It wants you to be held back, trying to figure it all out, playing a small life, because it knows if you have been attacked and it keeps attacking you, if you've been through stuff and tough times and trauma, that can hold you back, and then you're not on God's plan. And the devil wants you to not be on God's plan and keep suffering. God doesn't want that. But you have to submit yourself. What does that mean? Hand over it all. Hand over the trauma, the healing. Hand over your plans, your ways, and be like, come in. Come near to God. You go near to God first. You make the first move. And honestly, things will change. Come in. Learn how to do that. Learn how to believe. We are not taught how to believe. That is why there is a community that I've created. It wasn't even from me. It was all guidance. I thought it was about believing in yourself. Come on, girls, believe in yourself. It's about turning that unbelief in yourself, in God, in the actual promises, and actually learning to believe instead. We are not taught this. We are not made, it's not made clear at school, at Sunday school. It wasn't for me anyway, what these messages mean. Come near to God and he will come near to you. That's the promise. You don't have to figure everything out on your own. You don't need to heal the trauma, work it all out, blame anybody, work out the thought patterns and all of the stuff that's come from it. That's not your job. Your job is to believe. Your job is to hand it over. And if you hand it over to a random universe, I can understand why you wouldn't believe. When you hand it over to God, to a Father that loves you and is here for you and is waiting for you to be like, have it all. That takes the pressure off. That's the healing. you can rest in the healing. Rest in peace is a blessing for the living, not the dead. It's like you can rest in peace now because you don't need to figure it all out. You don't need to figure out what's happened and how to heal it all. That's not your job. So if you feel like you don't have a relationship with God, but you are intrigued and you would love to stop doing this life thing on your own, come and check out Believe. Come and see what we do. Ask questions, reach out. It's about coming in, leaning in, and learning how to believe. And this is a muscle that we have to work every single day. All right, I'll see you again next week.